Good morning. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today's podcast is going to be on focus. And as usual, I will start this podcast off with a quote. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. And that's a quote by Alexander Bell. The reason I'm discussing focus today is because I feel like, in society, we've lost the art of focus, like the art of being able to sit down and concentrate on one task until completion. The ability to just be present, focus on whatever you have in front of you and do that thing. Even when we're at work, some of us, we can't do it, but most of us, even when we're at work, we spend a lot of time in our phones, even when we're around family going out to eat or whatever, instead of interacting and being present in that moment, we're on our phones or doing something totally different instead of being present. And, being focused is another piece to the puzzle. It's another component of achieving success and becoming the person who you are and who you need to be in order to accomplish your goals. Again, as always, I'm creating this podcast and we're talking about it, but I'm also preaching to myself. That cell phone example was spot on. When I go to restaurants, or used to, that happens far and few in between nowadays. But when I was waiting for, my food to come or whatever, usually the person that I bring into the restaurant and myself, we're both on our cell phones, and that kind of defeats the purpose because we went to the restaurant with each other in order to chill or to have fun and to be with one another. So neither of us are focusing or being in the moment. It also goes for like schoolwork or, relationships, your goals and dreams. This focus covers a broad topic. I'm not just talking about focus as in, being present. I'm talking about focus as in relationships, just schoolwork, athletics, your dreams and goals, like focus in any way that it can be applied. Basically focusing on the task at hand, whatever that may mean. Focus is so important because it is the gateway to all thinking, perception, memory, learning, reasoning, solving, and decision making. Without good focus, all aspects of your ability to think suffer. So it's not just focus is composed of all of these things that we just talked about. Perception, memory, learning, reasoning, problem solving, and decision making. That's all components of focus. So if you don't focus, you're not going to get adequate enough information to be able to solve the problem correctly or deal with the problem correctly or deal with the task at hand correctly. It might not even be a problem. It just might be something that you need to handle. And if you don't focus, then you can't get the right information. Like, imagine, I hate math, so this example really is not my favorite. But imagine being in math class and having a word problem, but you're not focusing on the word problem. You're not focusing on the details surrounding the problem. And then your teacher asks you to solve it. Like your teacher's talking about a word problem, and then you look down in your phone and you're texting, or maybe you're talking to somebody else across the classroom or something, and for whatever reason you missed the information in reference to the math problem. So now you can't solve the problem adequately because you don't know all the information you need to know. Granted, you can ask questions, but if you were to listen the first time, you wouldn't have to ask questions. So not focusing makes us have to unnecessarily do things like ask questions, go back, repeat stuff, so we need to be present. We need to focus. Also in relationships, like when people are communicating their emotions and they're trying to resolve things with you or be authentic with you and you're not focusing on them, you're not being present, then that can create issues as well. That can create a disconnect. So focusing in all aspects of the word is very important. We have to become a society that perceives multitasking as something we have become a society that perceives multitasking as something that's desirable. Multitasking is a myth. We cannot multitask. I don't care who you are, we cannot multitask. It may seem like you're being more productive, but you're really not. In the long run, you're just hurting yourself, because when you multitask, you're not giving 100% to anything. You give it 50% to this, 25% this, whatever, but you're not giving 100% of your attention to anything. And in order to complete something or see it through all the way through, you're going to need to give it 100% effort in order to see it through. Our brains are unable to adequately handle cognitively demanding tasks at once, various cognitively demanding tasks at once. And by attempting to do so, we are actually harming ourselves. Research has shown that our brains can only process one activity at a time. So there have been studies that have been done on multitasking and focus and divided attention and stuff like that. And the research has shown that multitasking is basically a myth. Like, we can't multitask. And I, for one, have been one of those people that, in high school, I thought I was great at multitasking. I used to brag about it, like, hey, I could do this while I do this or whatever. It's not true. And when I think about it, I really wasn't getting anything done. It was taking me all day to get multiple things done. When if I just would have sat down and just focused on one thing at a time, I could have done it to completion. I could have done everything to completion in a shorter duration than taking up my whole day. Same thing in a relationship. That's just two of the things that I've been kind of focusing in on or honing in on, being present and stuff like that. If somebody is trying to communicate with you, your significant other, and you're trying to multitask, like clean the house or text somebody or send an email or set up something for work, are you really giving that person the time they need to adequately focus on what they're trying to say? If you're away doing something else, or being bothered with something else, or multitasking on something else, you're not really giving that person that full attention that they deserve and the respect that they deserve in reference to the information that they're communicating to you. So things might get lost in translation. You might not remember things as clearly as you should, and it doesn't give the respect that your relationship needs, or it doesn't give respect to that person that's communicating the information to you. In fact, some researchers suggest that multitasking can actually reduce productivity by as much as 40%. So, multitasking almost kills our ability to be productive by 50%. We're like 10% off. So it's not serving us at all. If somebody is talking to you, being authentic with you, communicating information to you, you need to be focusing. Your dreams, your goals, focus. You need to have focus. You need to have undivided attention to that thing. And granted, in some aspects of the word, yes, you're going to be able to have undivided attention in reference to that situation or that instance. But like with your dreams and goals, when I say focus, I'm not saying like just sit in one place and have undivided attention on your dreams and goals forever until you accomplish them. That's not possible. That's not feasible. What I'm saying is, don't lose your focus about what you're doing. Don't go to the left or right and do things that don't serve your goal or serve your purpose, and they're going to end up taking you off your path. Because when we lose focus, that's when we often have to take longer journeys to our destination. Hanging out with people that don't serve you, participating in activities that don't serve your goals or your dreams, doing things that don't serve your goals or your dreams, making investments where they don't need to be, like time investments and money and stuff like that. Like, when we lose sight of our goal, when we lose focus, that's when we stumble, that's when we fall. And losing focus or losing sight of our goals definitely doesn't help us in those instances when we're in the valleys. As we've discussed, life has its ebbs and flows, and having focus is one of those things, one of many things, again, because it's a puzzle. It's one of many things that can help us when we're down in that valley. When we're surrounded by fog, things look bleak and stuff like that. You can be the light in your situation, like we discussed, and that focus that you have on your dream and your goal can be a part of that light. It can be a part of what helps you get through that dark time, and it can be what helps bring you out of that valley and up on top of that mountain. It's all about focus. Well, pieces of it are about focus. Again, this is a huge puzzle, and there's so many different components, but focus is yet again another part of that puzzle. Focusing, especially in times of stress or de-stress, can be instrumental in overcoming obstacles. That's exactly what we were just talking about. You know, I know I keep saying this is a very important part, but it's many small parts that's working together towards the whole. You know, if you're I mean, okay, again, another boot camp example, because that's something that, you know, I really, really can relate to in my life. And it was during my formative years, so it really had an impact on me. But in boot camp, my focus was to go through one time without getting hurt or held back and become a Marine. That was my focus. That was what I kept my eye on all the time. So I tried not to do things that didn't serve that purpose. You know what I'm saying? I tried not to get hurt. I took good care of myself, stretched, hydrated. Like, I did little things that seemed insignificant, but in the long run, they were helping me out. Some things I didn't have a choice in the matter, like hydrating and stuff like that, and stretching and other things. But, you know, there were things that I did on a daily basis that were working towards my goal, because ultimately it was 13 weeks of boot camp, and I didn't want to be there any longer than I had to be. So I had to be focused on intentionally doing things that helped me progress to the end of boot camp as much as I could. Largely, when you go to boot camp, things are out of your control, but there are things that you can do to make your efforts more successful, and those are the things that I tried to do. Not saying I was any superstar or anything like that, but, you know, I made it, and that's what counts. The key is placing your focus on the right things. So sometimes people get bogged down and focus on, you know, distractions, or they focus on negativity. But, you know, that doesn't serve you either. You have to focus on the right things. We need to focus on solutions, and we need to focus on positivity or being optimistic, you know, because perspective drives reality. So if you're in a bad situation and you're only focusing on the negative, I mean, how is that going to help you get through the situation? If you're always like down, or if you're always just the weight of the situation, like you're just adding to the negativity, you know, how is that going to help you get through the situation? You know, there's already enough bad that's going to be going on. If it's a bad situation, you know, if it's like a trial or a tribulation, or they're facing another wall in your life that seems insurmountable, like, there's already going to be enough negative. It's like we talk about polarity and duality and stuff like that. There's the flip side of the coin, yin and yang, you know. There's going to be the good side and there's going to be the bad side. One can't exist without the other. So if there is negativity, or if there is a bad side, then there has to be positivity or a good side. And it would help serve us more, or serve our goals, or help us through the trial of tribulation more, if we focused on being positive as opposed to being negative. Like when I was going through boot camp, there was a lot I could have been negative about, you know, and that negativity wouldn't have helped me, because I still would have had to go through the same time frame, 13 weeks, just with the worst attitude. And, you know, perspective drives reality. So that would have just made my days longer, my time longer, and you know, I would have been dragging through it instead of, you know, marching through it like how I did. But I liked being there. I wanted to be there. I put a positive spin on what I was doing, and, you know, time flew by. It didn't seem like it at the time, but when I like look back at it, like, it really wasn't that long. You know, time flew by, and it was really a great experience. I'm thankful that I got it and I had the opportunity. And a lot of times when we're in the moment, we don't have the wherewithal to think about how this experience is going to form us and how it's going to make us a better person, because we might be focusing on the wrong things, like the negativity, or how, like, woe is me, or how bad is my life. But in every struggle and every trial is a lesson, something that can make us better, something that's going to help us be the person that we need to be in order to accomplish our goals. If we look hard enough, if we focus on the lesson and the positivity within that situation, even if we have to take a detour, if we made a decision that makes us sidestep away from the track that we need to be on to get to our goals, there's a million different ways to get to your goals, just, and most often in life, I don't think anybody achieves their goals in a straight line. I mean, there may be some people out there that achieve their goals in a straight line, maybe some hyper focused individuals who have blinders on and just don't see to the left or to the right and just focus straight ahead. I'm sure those individuals do exist, and I'm sure there are people out there that have accomplished their goal in the time frames that they have set and just straight ahead, like it was easy, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, into their career field, doing what they love. I'm sure that there are individuals out there, but as for me, my life has definitely took a sidestep, and it was largely because I lost focus. I had a dream and I had a goal, and then as life proceeded and the blinders came off, and I got exposed to more stuff, I lost focus. I clearly lost focus. But in losing that focus, there was a lot of lessons that I learned, a lot of invaluable lessons that I learned. And I'm thankful for the path that I've taken. It's turned out to be much better than what I've envisioned. I am where I am today because of the decisions that I've made and the path that I've taken. And life isn't bad. Life is not bad. So we need to learn how to master our focus. So what do I mean by mastering our focus? Mastering our focus means mastering our ability to successfully focus on a task to its completion without allowing small things to distract you. Because distractions are the enemy of focus. If you just eliminate your distractions, that'll help you focus better overall. So as usual, with these podcasts that I talk about, we need to do this and we need to do that. At the end or towards the end, I usually finish out with giving some ways to help, 7, 10, 6, 4 ways to do whatever. This podcast is no different. So we have 7 ways to master the art of focusing. And if you follow me on Anchor, I have put the link to my references in my show notes. So you can have the access to the full article there. But here are 7 ways to master the art of focusing. So number 1 is eliminate distractions. The mind can so quickly lose focus if there are distractions around you. Put yourself in a place where you can focus. Put yourself in a place where it's complete quiet. It's just you and the task that you're trying to do. Sometimes it helps me to put on music, or like I just put on just beats, not lyrics, or like sometimes, Beethoven or Mozart or Chaucer, like some stuff like that. But you need to just eliminate distractions, not be surrounded by little kids yelling or people asking you questions, or, your phone going off in the background, or, whatever it may be. You need to just eliminate those distractions, and that'll help you focus a lot more in and of itself. The number 2 thing that you could do is focus on one thing. Don't attempt to multitask. Multitasking and distractions are the enemy of focus. Experts estimate that the mind thinks between 50,000 and 80,000 thoughts a day. That's an average of 2,500 to 3,000 thoughts per hour. So we need to hone in our focus. Our mind likes to wander. Our mind likes to go, jumping from one task to another. But in order to be able to do things to completion and to get things done the way we need to get them done, we need to focus. We need to be present. We need to know what our mission, our goal is for that moment in time, for that thing at hand, and sit with it until we finish it, until it's done, until completion. Step 3 is meditation. I cannot harp enough on meditation. I'm trying to get better at meditation. Meditation is definitely, I mean, there's so much I can say about meditation. Like, and you can go on the internet and you can look up um, different things about meditation. You can look up places to go for meditation. They got apps that you can use for meditation. I use the app on my phone and I try to meditate daily. Meditation has definitely made this journey a lot different because it just puts things in perspective. There's a Zen proverb that says you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day unless you are too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. And I agree. Like meditation just calms your mind. Like you'll be thinking a million thoughts. And when you meditate, it kind of brings you focus, makes you present on that moment in time. And I'm not going to tell you how to meditate because again, I'm still learning myself, but there is tons of information on the internet about how to properly meditate, and I'm sure you could contact somebody in reference to it as well. Number 4, work effectively. We are all different, so we have times during the day when we are most productive. It is important to know when these times are and work in them. You know your body. Nobody else knows your body like you do. If you know you're not a morning person, if you know that when you get up you're groggy and that you're not ready for the day at that moment in time, take a shower, get some tea, work out, stretch, meditate, do some yoga, and then get after it. Sometimes in the military we don't have that luxury. You just have to get up and go. But in the civilian life, you have much more freedom. So if you recognize you're more productive at this time as opposed to this time, or after you do this, then you're more productive, then you need to do that. You need to work smarter, not harder, and give your body and the task at hand the focus and the adequate attention that it deserves. Number 5 is know your body. Mentally we can become tired when focusing for long periods, so take regular breaks. So the body can work for the brain can work for approximately 90 minutes before it starts losing focus. Um, we need to know that, work as hard as we can for 90 minutes, be present, focus on the thing that we're doing, and do as much as we can for up to like 90 minutes. And then once that 90 minutes comes, do something else, stretch, work out, move, go get a drink, go get some coffee, move around, walk, stand up, stretch, do something like that just to break the monotony of sitting at a desk or sitting in one place doing one thing or one task. Do it for 90 minutes, get up, stretch, walk around, maybe eat something, re-energize, refuel, and then get back after it. But again, it's important to know your body because when you're starting to get sleepy, it doesn't make sense to keep pushing on because your work is going to start to degrade. And you don't want your work to degrade after you've put so much effort, 90 minutes into something, and it's your best. And now towards the end, it's starting to, you know, go downhill or not be exactly what you want it to be because you're starting to get tired and you think that pushing through is what you need to do. Now, sometimes you need to do that, but not all the time. It's about knowing your body and working effectively. Like if that's what you need to do, if you have a deadline you have to hit, that might be something that you have to do. But that's not the correct thing to do in all circumstances. It's largely situational. The situational will dictate. Step number 6, planning your tasks. If you lay things out before it needs to be done, it makes it a lot easier. Because instead of thinking like, hey, what needs to be done next? You could just go to the next logical step that you've already laid out beforehand. So it takes the stress off of having to make decisions. That's why when you read and do research into, how can I be successful at getting my day started, my day rolling, like a lot of people will say, hey, if you already have your clothes laid out, that's one less decision that you have to make. That's one less thought that occupies your brain. So stuff like that, like just planning ahead and laying stuff out and, maneuvering through life so that everything doesn't have to be a decision is another way to help you focus. Because if you already know what you have to do next, then you don't have to think about it. Like, I'm going to write this paper. After I write this paper, I'm going to do the bibliography. After I do the bibliography, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do until the task is completed. And you'll probably finish the task faster as well, because when you have a plan, more often than not, you finish your task ahead of time, or you finish it on the time that you specified in that planning space. And lastly, number 7 is diet and hydration. I talk about this and harp on this a lot. Like, the things that you eat and the things that you put in your body, you got to think of your body as like a Formula One race car. You can't put the same type of gas in that car that a normal car out here puts in or it uses. You are what you eat. If you eat junk food all the time, pizza, hamburgers, fries, and all that type of stuff, I mean, eventually it's going to catch up to you, but it doesn't really serve you presently either, because that stuff, like, if you eat it, it just weighs you down and you feel slow and lethargic and stuff like that. But if you eat like a salad, a good salad, not a junk salad, but if you eat a salad, fruit, a shake, there's a bunch of healthier alternative vegetables. Usually when I eat it, in my experience, I don't feel sleepy. I don't feel lethargic. I have a burst of energy. I feel alive. I feel ready to take on a day. Anytime shortly after a meal is not a good time to be focusing on the job at hand, as so much as the body's energy is being used to digest the food. Again, it's about planning out, knowing your body, and just reading the situation. If you got an hour for lunch, maybe eat your lunch within 30 minutes and then give your body 30 minutes to digest the food before you go back to work. That way, when you go back to work, your body isn't in so much of a digestive mode as, when you get back to your task, it's shifted and focused on using those nutrients and stuff to help you accomplish the task. I'm not sure how long it takes for something to digest. And I remember looking at the chart and seeing that it takes different food, different times to digest. So depending on what you eat largely depends on the time frame that it digests, but I'm just not sure specifically what the time frame is. But you need to, again, just be aware of that, knowing your situation, planning, and, being ready for what comes next, knowing that you're no good after you eat because, you feel tired, lethargic, or whatever. Again, every situation doesn't give you that luxury, but, planning, knowing your situation, knowing yourself, knowing your body, situation dictates. Also, hydration. Hydration is critical for optimal brain function, so try to drink at least 2 liters of fresh water each day. Avoid all soft drinks, energy drinks, and sports drinks. I don't drink soda. I don't drink anything else. I might drink iced tea every now and then, but most of the time I drink water. And I don't drink as much water as I should. When I leave the house, I usually walk around with a gallon. Whether I drink or don't drink that whole gallon is up in the air. I need to do better with it. I really do. But I try to drink a gallon of water every day. And usually when I drink that water, I feel less hungry. I feel more present. I feel more focused. And I feel just overall better. And then if I'm hydrated and I've eaten good food on top of that, it just makes me feel that much better. I'm fueling the race car with the best fuel I could put in it and the things that it needs overall, because our body is alive. It's not just a machine. So it has needs and things that, it has to have in order to run properly and run optimally. Because if we're not eating healthy, if we're not hydrating, we're not running optimally. We're not running at our best. So this is my podcast on focus. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you get something out of it. And let's enjoy this journey together.